Welcome to the Top Shelf Literary Edition. So this is episode 94. We're taking a look at my top 10 favorite books of all time, and I hope you've been enjoying the series. Like I said, we're capping this at 100 because I want to move on to a new series that I want to produce. My name is Ernest Whiteman III. I'm a Northern Ramapo filmmaker, artist, writer, and media educator, and we're taking a look at the top shelf of my book collection today. I have a selected book. I'll give you a synopsis and a review and the reason why I purchased or received the edition. And we're taking a look at my top 10 favorite books of all time. And here we're seeing at number 7 is American Indian Stories by Zitkálá-Ša. I believe she has another name as well, but she is a Yankton, Dakota that wrote in the early part of the 20th century, so the early 1900s. And she is very prolific in recounting the transitional life of the Native Americans from reservations or from plains or open spaces, ancestral lands, to reservation life, to a city life as she recounts her life becoming a teacher. Now, again, this is another book that I've only read once, but it has hit me with such a huge impact that I can't stop thinking about it sometimes. And I'm going to read it again once I finish some of the books that I'm reading now. And I find myself picking it up and starting to read some of the poems that she has in here, which are very personal and very insightful to the times of being a Native person in those times. You know, the transition away from extermination to the reservation system and the boarding school eras. And I bought this because I didn't see it on a lot of people's lists. Excuse me. I didn't see a lot of people's Native American lists. There's this really I'm trying to word this in a way that isn't in the Native community, we have a tendency to sort of push male Native authors. I mean, I wrote a book myself, and when something goes horribly wrong with one of the Native male authors, such as, you know, the Alexi and the Me Too movement, we immediately started looking for the next Sherman Alexi. When there were women like Zitkálá-Ša around for decades and decades and decades, and now centuries, where there were the Joy Harjos, who's now the Poet Laureate of the United States. That's what it took for her to get sort of the recognition that she so rightly deserves. But all you need to be a male is to, you know, write about criminal Indians on the reservation, which is what my book was about. But women like Louise Erdrich and Hyde Erdrich, writers like that, Roberta Hill, I'm starting to blank. Leslie Marmon Silko, Elise Passion, Susan Power. There's all these Native women writers out there that have been, you know, publishing and hustling. Darcy Little Badger just came out with a great YA novel, and she's actually now starting to receive some acclaim. But none of these will be seen as the next Alexi. These stories are very powerful in that they're all told from her point of view. They talk about life on the reserves, or life on the ancestral lands, of how they had to move and how she was actually pushed to go into boarding school when she didn't want to. and what she had to do to sort of survive there at the boarding schools. And not only that, she saw that there's this great emptiness in and disconnect in between the teaching of and the experiences of Native students, that she decided to become a teacher. And she started to write after that. After she did her stint as a teacher, decided she needed to tell the stories. And Zitkálá-Ša wrote a handy collection that still is impactful to such writers as Layla Long Soldier. Is another one I failed to mention, who does the introduction to this. And I never saw these on a bunch of top 10 lists. And I noted that mine was all filled, or had been filled, with Native male authors. And I thought, I need to rectify that. Not so much consciously, but when this hit, I thought, this is a book that needs to make an impact. And it has, because one, I'm still thinking about it and I'm still rereading it, and I reread it piecemeal, but I think it's an important book, especially now. So that's the reason why I purchased it. I saw it in a Barnes & Noble, believe it or not, and it was one of the only copies that were there, and I didn't see it anywhere else. And I don't see enough recommendations of this book. So it sits at number 7 on my top 10 favorite books of all time, American Indian Stories by Zitkálá-Ša. If I get the mispronunciation wrong, please correct me in the comments. Let me know what you thought of this book. Let me know what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it. Am I wrong in my thoughts? Please explain how. Because I'm always looking to expand my thinking and looking at other points of view that just aren't mine. So, American Indian Stories sits on the top shelf for today. Next up we have our number 6 book, which is The Legend of the Condor Heroes series by Louis Cha. And that's coming up next. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Again, let me know what you think in the comments. Thank you for joining me. I'll catch you next time.